Wolf Theiss Soundshot. Insights and analysis from one of the leading law firms in Central, Eastern, and Southeastern Europe. Welcome to this episode of the Wolf Theiss Soundshot Career Edition. In this episode, Associate Meindl and Senior Associate Florian Pechhacker discuss their experiences with the infamous Internship Assessment Center, both as aspiring interns and from the perspective of a potential mentor. While Michael has been part of the real estate and construction team focusing on property law since his internship in 2017, Flo now mentors his own interns as a senior associate in the Vienna disputes team. He's also part of the team preparing moot cases for the current generation of interns hoping to join Wolf Theiss.
Michael, how was your day at the assessment center?
I think at first I was really nervous, but the longer I was there, the more comfortable I got. At first you imagine it going against each other, but then it's more like in a team trying to get the best out of you, get the best ideas. And so then it was pretty comfortable, but I'm curious, what's it like on the other side?
Yeah, I know both sides because almost 8.5 years ago I did my assessment center to become a legal intern at Wolf Theiss. I remember the day of the assessment center, I was standing in front of the Wolf Theiss building and I thought maybe I should go back home and take a longer nap, put on my PlayStation again, because I was very nervous at that day because it was a completely new situation. The guys from the Wolf Theiss HR provided me with this case to prepare for a meeting with the client, and I was very curious and very nervous. How will it be, and can I compete with the other colleagues, with the other students? As soon as I entered the room, I was a little bit more relaxed because I said, okay, here are people like me, so let's move on.
I was also nervous because, there are about 300 people that apply for this internship, and you're under the last about 30, so the air gets thinner. And there are not much spots left, and so at first you really think it's the super brains there. What am I doing there?
I know what you mean, because I was in my 6th or 7th semester at the Juridicum, and there were people who were already doing their LLM degrees at universities outside from Austria, people who are doing PhD, so very well educated guys. And I thought, oh my god, I have no chance against these prodigies of law. So but somehow I must have done something right, because finally after the assessment center, a guy from HR called me and said, congratulations, you're in. And
I think that is one of the tips and tricks we could give the guys who applied, because I think most important is always stick to your plan you made at first. You have to prepare some things and stick to the plan. I was the last one going with the introductions, and I thought, damn, he said that, and he said this, and he said that. Maybe I should include that also, or maybe I should include something similar. But first tip, just stick to the plan.
Yeah, that's definitely a good tip. I was wondering to do a short presentation about yourself.
Yeah, we had a short presentation of about 5 minutes in English about ourselves, but away from the CV, so don't say, then I went to school there, and then I went to school there. Just say something that doesn't already everybody know in the room.
At my assessment center, someone made a very fancy video presentation about himself, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot compete with this guy, because I was standing there trying to make some funny jokes how I came to Wolf Theiss or why I wanted to become a intern at Wolf Theiss.
So the tasks that have to be performed are the short presentation, the case.
Right, and now, since I'm a little bit longer here at Wolf Theiss, I started to get also involved at the other side of the assessment center. For example, I'm playing the client who seeks advice from the students and from the applicants. I also involved in the drafting of the mood cases. Basically, the cases which are the basis for the assessment center are real cases of the various PGs. For example, I'm working at the PG dispute, and one of the latest cases of the assessment center was one of my first matters I worked here as an associate. It's really fun to watch how the students react to certain aspects of the case, because you know how it ended in the end, and it's funny if you can see similarities, especially in the negotiations between the two teams. So that's always fun to watch, and I'm now also in the position to evaluate the applicants.
I was very impressed with the acting effort of the lawyers involved in the assessment center, because they don't even really say hi and now we're starting. They're just going here, hi, I'm the client.
Yeah.
What about the case? And also during negotiations, it's really a very good feeling, and immediately the participants got involved and everybody was like, it's a real case.
Yeah.
So it's very good from that point.
Yeah, when I play a client, I try to be some kind of actor and get into the mood and try to feel like the client. I'm also asking sometimes stupid questions, because applicants think I know all the details of the case and I know all the legal issues at hand. But of course, I know the legal issues because I'm involved in the drafting of the case. But when playing the client, you have to be like the client, and you do not have the legal background. And of course, you have to get a feeling whether the applicant has understood the relevant questions, which is also important. And this might be a good tip for any potential new applicants for the assessment center. Always ask the question, what's the most important thing for the client? How can we get the client to his goals? Because of course, if you ask the client what's the best outcome of the negotiations, he says, yeah, I win everything and I'm absolutely right on every point. But you have to do also some kind of expectation management and so on, and give the client the right impression about
I think that was
chances.
A main point also in our discussions, because you shouldn't always only be focused on the legal aspects, but also on client expectations, what non-legal solutions you could get. It's mostly about money in business law, so that's a good point to start. Just be clear to your client what to expect and where you are sure he's right, but also say, okay, on this aspect we have a weak position, so we have to give them something, and not say to the client, everything's right, we gotta do it like in suits. So just be clear to him.
I remember once, and maybe this is a good tip also for our future applicants. I asked once an applicant about chances to get an interim injunction. He said, oh, no problem at all. When you start working at a law firm, it is very important to say to the client, we have to evaluate, it depends on the case-by-case analysis. So I think expectation management is something which is really important during the assessment center.
And just to calm down the future applicants, maybe no party has the stronger side, so everybody is about equal, so nobody has to be, oh no, I have the weak case and I'm on the strong side. It's both equal every time.
Although I have to say sometimes I'm a little bit biased when I'm acting as our former client, because that was our position.
And as an evaluator, what do you expect from the AC participants?
Good understanding of the legal questions at hand, What is really important when it comes to the first meeting with the client, you should make sure that you get your message to the clients. But it is also important to show the human factor in the discussions with the client. As I said earlier, get a feeling of the client, what's important for the client. For example, in one of our recent cases, the client wants to still be a managing director at the company. So this is a very important aspect of the case, and not only getting, let's say, 600,000 euros from the other side. So there are also important aspects to the client, and if you ask them, they will say what they want and what would be the best outcome. And it's not always about money, but also about other things. And coming back to the human factor, it is important to get the understanding of the client, because sometimes what I learned during my time as an associate at Wolf Theiss, it is very important to translate the language of the client to the legal considerations. Because the client is not aware of our fancy legal buzzwords, but he says he works, for example, with numbers. We have to translate the numbers to our beautiful legal language, and this is something which is really important. And if I get the feeling, the impression, look, this is a student who does not only know the legal question, but is also able to translate the language of the client to the legal language. This is something we are looking for here at Wolf Theiss.
To come back to the beginning, when we said we were both a little bit anxious when we got to the assessment center, I was also anxious to just send my application, because I thought with my grades I have no chance, and so why should I even work on my application? But from my point of view, that was not really the case. So I also got in with my grades, but I think that's the first step, to not be too anxious about what's about my CV, what about my grades. Just send in an application and let decide the firm.
I also had this thoughts about, I'm not having A's and B's. That's not the deal breaker, because I also got the impression when I came to Wolf Theiss, the whole picture counts. So it's not only about the grades, but the people involved with the assessment center want to get a feeling of the person, how does he act in various situations. After you succeeded the assessment center, we, the people at Wolf Theiss, want to get know the person, not just your grades or you're as a lawyer.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Wolf Theiss Soundshot. For more information, you can contact us via email at soundshot@wolftheiss.com or visit our website at www.wolftheiss.com. You can also follow us here to receive further updates on developments in law and business from one of the leading law firms in Central, Eastern, and Southeastern Europe.